Hi, and welcome back to episode 6 of Pilates Flows at Atlantis, a series where I will demonstrate and give you the tools to do the sequences that I post to my Instagram. Now let's get started. So in today's episode, we'll be doing an abdominal series that I posted on Instagram a while ago. In that series, I did a bird dog variation using a weight on the reformer, a dead bug variation, and a pike variation. So let's get set up. To start in our bird dog, first put one red spring on, grab your weight and place it on the carriage. Then make your way onto the carriage on your hands and knees. Bring your left knee to the bottom left edge of the carriage, weight in your left hand. Bring your right toes up to the foot bar in line with your right hip, and your right hand down onto the carriage beneath your right shoulder. Press through your right toes to slowly start carriaging out. At the same time, pull the weight up to your ribs. Then carefully bend your right knee to carriage back in and release the weight back down to the side of the reformer. If this feels quite difficult, add a little bit more spring to stabilize the movement. For a dead bug variation, we'll first start on one red and one blue spring. Make your way down onto your back on the carriage. Reach up to grab both straps using the little loops. Then reach your arms up to the ceiling. Bring your arms in line with the bottom of your sternum. Float both knees over your hips at tabletop. Press your low back down into the carriage. Then one leg at a time and slowly extend your leg out, trying to lower your foot all the way down to tap the foot bar while keeping your low back in contact with the carriage. The slower you go, the harder this will be. For our pike, we'll first place on one blue spring, then remove both shoulder blocks from the carriage. Make your way onto the carriage on your hands and knees. Bring both knees up towards the headrest before bringing your hands down onto the floor. Then walk your legs back so that you're in a full plank. Press down through the tops of your feet to lift your thighs. To perform the move, press down through your hands and the tops of your feet. At the same time, engage your abdominals and carefully lift your hips as high to the ceiling as possible. Bring the carriage forward to tap your forehead before you slowly release back down into your plank. And that will be it in today's episode. Now remember, in that first exercise, our bird dog, we started at the edge of the reformer with our knee down right on the edge of the carriage, weight in that same side hand. Our opposite toes were back on the foot bar and that opposite hand was down on the headrest, actively pressing the carriage away from you so that we're not going into the shoulder joint there. Then to perform the movement, you carefully carriage out and at the same time pull that weight up towards the ribs and then carefully carriage back in and release the weight back down to the side of the reformer. Then for our second exercise, we did our dead bug variation. So we came down onto our back, we grabbed our straps using those little loops. Remember that you want the straps down in line with the bottom of your sternum versus up in line with the shoulders. That's simply going to help you engage a little bit more and to stabilize the upper body and the low back so that then we could move our legs, really focusing on working our abdominals and actually getting a little bit of a stretch through those hip flexors. Then for our third exercise, we were doing our pike with our hands on the floor. So you made your way with your knees starting on the headrest, hands out onto the floor. You press down through the tops of your feet to lift your thighs off the carriage, and then carefully started to lift the hips, dragging your toes on that carriage to pull the carriage in as you try to lift your hips as high as you could over your shoulders before carefully releasing back down. Remember, go slow with that one so that you don't hit your forehead on the headrest. And that will be it. So if you learned something or if you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you next time.